5 minutes.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it's been a long morning and afternoon. And at this point in time, there's an adage that says everything that can be said has been said, except that not everyone has said it. So if you will indulge me for a few minutes, I'd just like to reflect on some observations having sat here and gone through this. And I'm hoping and praying that this is not a problem in search of a solution, because we're dedicating an awful amount of time here, and I don't want a few things to escape us. But having said that, I want to first associate myself with the remarks of Mr. Raskin, the ranking chair. His opening remarks succinctly, I think, encapsulated and put in place what many of us on this side of the aisle are feeling. And I also, as a point of personal privilege, would like to just express how many of us share the concern of the gentlewoman from South Carolina who indicated her ongoing medical condition, which she said she might have to live with the rest of her life. That just got me for a moment, and I wanted to make sure that that's on the record. Now, I would disassociate myself with her remarks when she said, as did the gentlewoman from Georgia, God bless Elon Musk. For me, it's God bless my country, God bless my family, God bless my friends. Mr. Musk can take care of himself. I would also caution, if I might, all of us, but particularly the gentleman from South Carolina who said earlier that there is proof that Hunter Biden committed multiple felonies. The gentleman said that without offering anything for the record. And I know we're all covered by congressional immunity in terms of when we're on the floor and when we're in these committees, but sometimes we probably don't want to feed into hot rhetoric. I mean, we campaign in that kind of poetry, but we are elected to govern in prose. And when you do that, there's a different sense of responsibility that goes with all of us. Mr. Roth, I listened to you, and I feel bad that you were attacked. And, you know, you had to sell your home. You had to move your family. And I just want to remind you and remind myself that there are members of this committee who are also always under attack because of their race or because of their surname or because of their political affiliation. That kind of reckless incitement, I think, is best dealt with when you have content moderation. Otherwise, we gin up the rhetoric. The people who can't control themselves oftentimes don't, and then we see violence occurring against whether it's members of Congress through threats or persons like yourself in the private sector. Ms. Navaroli, you in your testimony stated that on the morning of January the 6th that you sent lawyers a message warning them that your team was hamstrung by leadership. And 2 days later, when it looked like that might happen again, you asked management whether or not they wanted more blood on their hands. What was their response, and what did they do?
Yes, thank you for that question. On the morning of January 6th, I did send that message to a Twitter lawyer, specifically because I believe that Twitter was going to be facing liability for what was going to occur that day. I do not remember their exact response, but I do remember there coming in a response of confirming that the information had been received. Would you repeat the second question that you asked?
I wanted to know what was their response. What did they do?
Nothing.
Okay, you went on to say that in January of 2020, after the United States assassinated an Iranian general, that the president at that time, Mr. Trump, decided to justify it on Twitter, and management literally instructed you to make sure that we were not about to start World War III on that platform. Is that correct?
Yes, that did occur.
And what happened after that?
It was up to me and my team to create what we called enforcement guidance, so a document that explained how we would apply our policies specifically related to content moderation in that specific instance. I believe the document was relating to foreign policy discourse.
So my point here about content moderation on the front end prevents some of the crazy things we see on the back end. Mr. Chairman, I have from the Anti-Defamation League their latest report on murder and extremism in the United States oftentimes fueled by the lack of content moderation, that I would ask unanimous consent be entered into the record. And I also have the National Threat Assessment done by the Secret Service of our country. This was just released, and it talks about how 25% of all of these acts are being conducted by people who are not moderated, but who in fact end up breaking the law and threatening the lives of people. And I would ask unanimous consent that also be.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes Mr. Sessions for 5 minutes.